welcome to the Congo Hour. My name is Trippi. I'm joined with my co-host Waynna. We want to thank you so much for joining in this evening and for all of the love and support that you have shown. How long? This is our
fourth week, our fourth Sunday.
Oh, fourth Sunday. So, wow, 4 weeks in.
I know,
and
right?
Still just getting a lot of support, a lot of encouragement. So we thank you so much for that. We were talking before we came on air about just different subjects or different organizations or people who you may want to hear about or watch on the Congo Hour, who you may want us to interview, who you just want to kind of get to know a little better, maybe different businesses that we can promote. So if so, just give us a shout out, leave a comment in the section, and we will try to make that happen for you. Tonight, Waynna, we're gonna have a really good show, a really informative show.
Yes, I've been waiting.
Yeah, we have Taylor West from the city of Wilmington's HR department. She's gonna come and talk about residency.
Yes.
We've been talking a little bit about that, but she's gonna come and just go a little more in depth and help us to understand what residency is and why we are having a discussion around keeping it or maybe getting rid of it or maybe tweaking it a little bit. So looking forward to that conversation. When we've talked about it,
we got several comments on our social media page. So.
What were the comments? Were they for it or against it or?
They were for it. The majority, all of them were for it.
Were for keeping residency?
No, for getting rid of it and allowing people from outside to come in.
Okay.
However, and I'll just put it out here now, and she can speak on it. They said that applicants should first come within the city.
Right.
And once there's no one qualified or overqualified or whoever, then to open it up for people outside of the county and even outside of the state.
Okay, so yeah, we'll talk to Taylor about that in a few minutes. We're going to talk about Bishop Aretha Morton Day.
Yes.
Shout out to Mayor Przicki and the administration for proclaiming last Monday, April 24th, Bishop Aretha Morton Day. I'm so upset I couldn't be there.
Oh, people were asking, where's Trippi?
I wanted to be there, but I got busy at the office and I couldn't leave. So I'm sure everything was awesome.
You know, she would give you that side eye if she was here.
True, she would. She sure would. She probably is. She probably is. We have some birthday shout outs.
Yes.
We have some community news. I know Mariah's moment this Sunday, but
I was really looking
forward
to it.
I'm pretty sure she will be back next Sunday with us.
Okay.
She's looking forward to it.
People really loved her segment, yes.
Yeah, a couple of people mentioned it to me. They're like, I don't know where you got her from, but she's not like the rest of them. She's not. She's her own person, and she just is full of herself and full of personality. She's just
I had an appointment with Dr. Coker, and I started laughing because that's what Mariah gave shout outs to her for looking at her throat when she's sick. But when I was there, she was sharing with me that she's a life coach at school.
No, she's probably a little bit of everything at school.
Yeah, I was like,
all her friends were watching the show, so she was excited about that. I think what did she say? She said she wanted to come and update the viewing audience about something. I can't remember what it was, but next Sunday, make sure you tune in.
You have to text her during a break just to ask her what it was, because I want to know what it was.
I'm gonna do that. What else is going on in your life?
Oh boy, in my life?
Yeah, in your life.
My life is going amazing.
You sure?
I'm just, okay, truth be told, I'm exhausted. But in spite of me being exhausted, I've lost 3.7 pounds. And I started on the 16th.
All right. So
on
much
eating healthy. None ya.
Okay. I mean, you
just know
just know that you lost a little bit. Okay.
I lost.
That counts.
I lost 3.7 pounds.
Can you share the goal? How much you want to lose?
I personally wanted to lose 20 pounds, but we'll see.
But what?
I don't know if I'll be like. I don't know. I have to see.
Okay. What's your when do you want to lose it by?
I don't have a set time. I'm just.
No. We need it. We need a goal. We need an end date so we can hold you accountable. That's the way that works. So if you're gonna put it out there, you have to be held accountable for it. So today is
really get on my nerves.
This is April. So I think you can do it by 4th of
you
July.
Say you think I can do it
4th of July.
Okay.
Deal?
4th of July what?
That's when you're gonna have you would have lost 20 pounds by the 4th of July.
Okay, and how about you with yours? You haven't talked about that.
I didn't bring it up. I mean,
Well, I mean, we talking about it. You originally was talking about.
I want to lose 20 more pounds by
July 4th.
No, by
Before that.
by June 25th. By June 25th.
Are you just picking a date?
I'm not.
Where did you come up with that date?
Because I'm going away, and I want to.
You want to eat.
I just want to, feel a little bit better about myself when I go away. That's all. So, and I'm going away the 26th. So, a day before. See that? See how I did that?
You got it.
So we're gonna hold each other accountable. We're gonna bring a scale on. Matter of fact.
No, we're not doing that. I'm not doing that.
We're gonna bring a scale.
I'm just going to show you mine because my scale is, I can do it from my mobile app. When I get on the scale, it calculates it, tells me how many pounds I've lost and all of that.
So you're gonna update us every week? Yes.
Yes, Trippi.
And I'll do the same. I'm gonna do the same thing. Deal?
Deal.
So how's it work? I never heard of that. How's it work through the?
So I purchased a scale.
Okay.
And it comes with an app. It's called iKeeping, and it will tell you that I lost 3.7 pounds. So when I activate the app, I step on the scale, it brings my weight here, tells me how many pounds I've lost.
That's pretty cool. Where'd you get that scale from?
Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
That's pretty cool.
So that's how we'll hold each other accountable because I can't go by what you said.
So I don't have that app and that scale, so I just take a picture of the scale. No, it's the same thing.
No, it's not, because you can have anybody step on the scale.
So you can do the same thing. You can have anybody step on the scale. So there has to be some level of trust. Goodness gracious. So every week we're going to update each other and our viewing audience on our weight loss progress.
Sounds
Deal?
good.
Okay. All right. And it's not really about. I mean, it is about we want to look better and feel better, but it's really about like being healthier.
So let me say this. Wasn't really a water drinker, but since the 16th, that's all I've been drinking is water.
Okay.
Whether I put fruit in it, mint in it to try to make it taste like something. I haven't had any fried foods, cut back on all starches. I've been eating a lot of fruits and vegetables.
Right.
It's rough.
It is in the beginning because your body craves
the
sugars and everything, but it'll get easier.
And what else I learned is eating healthy costs more than it does eating junk.
It does, but it's worth it though.
It is.
But not eating healthy, it costs more in the long run.
In the long run, right.
Yeah,
but
not only money, but like your health. And
I do feel better.
Do you? See?
I do.
So it's worth it.
Yeah,
because you just spent the money on something. So you might as well spend it on yourself, right?
You're right.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break.
Yep, quick
break.
break.
And then come back with Taylor West from the city of Wilmington.
I'm excited.
We'll be right back.
DETV has been Delaware's premium provider of creative digital and broadcasting solutions that bridges communities and connects people. We create great stories for all audiences. We deliver independent news throughout Delaware. We are digital platform innovators. And we develop marketing and sales solutions so you can stay connected to your audience. Now, why do we do what we do here on DETV? We do it because we care. So, keep watching and follow us on all of our social media platforms. Remember, DETV, online, on air, on time.
Good evening and welcome back to the Congo Hour. I'm really excited about our guest, Trippi. We've been talking about this for quite some time. So we now get to have a expert's point of view, and that is Taylor West, who is with the City of Wilmington in the Human Resource Department and Deputy Director, correct?
That's right, correct.
Yes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for
welcome,
having me.
Taylor. Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
Yeah, really appreciate you coming on. Taylor, how long have you been with the city?
I have been with the city since 2019.
Okay, that's all?
I know, it feels like longer than
I
that.
know it does. I thought you.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
Yeah.
like she ready to
No,
retire or something.
Yeah,
I started in the law department.
Yeah, I thought you'd
and
been
then
on
in
that.
2021, I came down to HR
Okay.
as a deputy director.
So just before we get into the conversation about residency, let's just talk about Taylor and who are you, like?
Who am I?
Yeah, who are you, Taylor West? Listen, so Taylor was in the law department, right? And in city council, we were looking for a chief of staff. I was looking forward. Yeah, I was looking forward to trying to get her to come over with us.
You
but
trying to wheel her over?
I was, but she dissed us.
I miss council a little bit.
Little bit.
Just a little bit.
That's all. That's all. Just a touch. But no, Taylor is extremely intelligent. She's just a good all-around person. She comes from great parents.
Yes.
Give a shout out to your parents.
Shout out to my mom and dad, Gary and Ramona Foreman.
Yeah, so I mean, and her father, Mr. Foreman, he just has so much knowledge about the city of Wilmington.
Yes.
He's helped me tremendously, even before I was council president. He's just an extremely intelligent man. He has been chief of staff for a couple mayors.
Two
mayors. He's really, really knowledgeable. And I just wanted Taylor to be able to come on and follow that same tradition, but we still have you, but we don't have you where we wanted you. But the city is definitely grateful for your presence and for what you're bringing to the table. So thank you again, Taylor, for being yourself. And so tell us, you went to law school, right?
Yep, I went to Delaware Law School.
Okay.
Graduated in 2016. Before that, I went to Xavier University of Louisiana. Proud HBCU grad.
Okay. All right.
Native Wilmingtonian, so grew up in public schools in Delaware.
What made you want to get into law?
So interestingly enough, I actually in college was pre-med.
Okay.
And so my degree is in biology with a minor in chemistry, but in my last year, I kind of switched focus and I felt like I could affect more people through policy. And so that's what pushed me into law, probably admittedly somewhat following in my mom's footsteps. She's an attorney as well. And so, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
All right.
And so, yeah, just the impact that I could have on communities. I always wanted to serve my community. And since graduating law school, I've been in public service in some capacity, either with the state or now the city.
Okay.
So I'm passionate about people.
All right. So how's it going with you so far in HR, human resource?
I love HR. HR was an unexpected career path, but it, for me, is the perfect balance between law and my passion for people. So I get to, balance the interests of the city and also advocate for its employees who are the power behind, the city. So
You work with a wonderful person too.
I do. I have to give a shout out to Charlotte. Yeah, she is. I'm grateful to be under her leadership.
Yeah, shout out to Charlotte Barnes. So probably Charlotte and Tanny, from my experience, they probably have like the most knowledge about the city of Wilmington. Charlotte has been in so many different departments within the city. I mean, so her experience is just incredible. We got to have her on here just to kind of talk about her time with the city, because she's just been, I know ever since I've been on council, she's been the go-to.
She's been, yes.
Right.
Yeah. You might need more than one show, because she's just like, she's that knowledgeable, and she can run it down, like detail. She'll tell you what happened 30 years ago, who was in the room, what they said. Yeah, she's extremely knowledgeable.
She spoke very highly of you, because originally I had called her, but she was like, my deputy is just as knowledgeable as I am. I was like, okay. So thank you for being willing to come on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Taylor, we want to talk about residency. So explain to our viewing audience what that is.
So right now, the city of Wilmington has a residency requirement, which means all full-time employees have to live in the city. They have to move within the city within 6 months of their employment. And the requirement is for 5 years, which means they have to stay in the city for 5 years, and then thereafter they can move pretty much wherever they want.
Okay. And it hasn't always been 5 years.
No, it hasn't. So there's, residency has evolved over the years. At one point, the residency requirement was for the duration of your employment with the city. And so as long as you were employed, you had to live in the city.
Right.
Then I think around the early to mid 70s, it was eliminated completely for like 2 years. And then it came back and was around like 12 to 15 year requirement. Then it was reduced to now the 5-year requirement that we've had. So, you know, this is not a new conversation.
Right.
You know, the executive and legislative body have addressed and acted on this before.
Did it originally change back because of, I want to say, the police and fire department?
That probably has something to do with it. I know they are often some of the most vocal groups as it relates to the residency requirement.
That's a nice way to put it.
She was like, yes, okay.
So right now it's 5 years. And right now there's a conversation around eliminating residency.
Yes.
How come?
So I can speak from our perspective
Okay.
as the Human Resources Department. Residency has had a huge impact on the city's ability to recruit and retain talent. You know, I think since the pandemic, all employers from large corporations to small business owners have experienced challenges in recruiting.
Right.
And one thing that we've seen, and we've actually documented, so we're not just relying on what we think, we're relying on data. We've documented how residency has impacted those that are applying for city jobs. We have had people turn away jobs. Just last week, we had the top 2 candidates from one position decline because of residency. And so I think that's one of the things that makes it different now, a different conversation now than it was in the previous years when they were discussing residency, is the job market. Again, since the pandemic, it's a different ballgame. Employees can take their pick, name their price, demand to work from home, and everything else. And so in order to be able to compete and to be able to have the best and most qualified candidates, we really have to start thinking about eliminating some of these barriers, and residency, quite honestly, is the biggest one as far as obtaining, you know, qualified talent for the city.
Now, the applicants that turned it down, did they not know, like, what?
That's the thing. So it is advertised, and by it, I mean the residency requirement is advertised on our job postings, our website. When we call them to schedule the initial interview and do screening, we inform them about the residency requirement. So we can't say that they didn't know.
Okay.
Whether they thought it would be enforced, that might be a different story. But, you know, we have people get all the way up. They participate in the interviews and are extended the offer, and at that point they decline when we tell them or remind them that they have to move into the city.
Wow.
Yeah, and I guess before I had conversations with people like yourself in Charlotte, and just people who could explain to me like the data, like you said. Like I was all for residency, but just hearing like your experiences and just having a greater understanding of the impact that it's had. Like right now I'm in support of eliminating it, and I could see if it were the entire duration of your employment, that would be different. But it's only for 5 years. So for me to ask someone who doesn't live in the city to come in to city, uproot your family just for 5 years, it doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
And I guess it's not working because, like you said, Taylor, people are declining employment, highly qualified people, and we want to have the best work. We want to put our best, foot forward.
Yeah.
We want to be able to supply our residents with the best workforce. And right now we can't do that because of this residency requirement. So I just think that it makes sense to relax it. Now, everybody on council isn't on board, and I understand their concern, but I just think that again, if it were for the entire time that you had to work for the city, it would be different. But for only 5 years, I don't think that it makes much sense right now. So
I think they should I took a look at the list, and it's a long list of job opportunities at the city. So I think maybe if they consider that, then maybe that will kind of hopefully change their minds a little bit.
Yeah, we recently had our budget hearing, and we talked about the number of vacancies, and so right now it's about 90 that we have. And there have been actually some key jobs that we have really been unable to fill over the past couple years, some of which are those jobs requiring CDLs, so our equipment operators, the people that, you know, drive our street sweepers and our sanitation drivers. Those are really critical positions for the city. And so when you think about the services that they provide, there's some serious consequences to not having people in those roles. Another position that has been hard to fill over the past, quite honestly, years are our 911 call operators. That's a public safety issue. And it's not just the city of Wilmington that's having difficulty hiring for those roles, but the county, the state. And they don't have the residency requirement. And so when you look at who we're competing and that we're all experiencing these challenges, we're really putting ourselves at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because we're competing with the city of Newark. I think Charlotte was talking about the city of Newark is giving us a run.
They really are. I joke, it's not funny, but I joke that we have become a part of their recruitment strategy. Because we have lost a good number of employees to the city of Newark. One, for the salaries, but also because they don't have a residency requirement.
Wow. So if we do relax that residency requirement, what does that look like for the city? Like, what happens?
So one thing that I want people to understand, if there was any takeaway from this conversation, is that the elimination of the residency requirement will not negatively impact city residents' ability to get jobs with the city.
Okay.
The only effect that it will have will be to increase the chance of the city of Wilmington recruiting the best and most qualified talent. And I say that it won't have an impact on city residents because even with the elimination of the residency requirement, our city code, which governs all aspects of our local government, has a provision that provides a preference for residents in our hiring process. And so what that looks like, for example, if we have two people applying for one job, one of whom is a resident, the other is not. If they are either equally or similarly qualified, then the resident will be given the job because they have a preference. And we have put great focus into amending our process from the documentation that we use in assessing candidates to make sure that there is literally a box that we check whether they're a resident or not, to make sure that that preference is accounted for and is given to the candidates. And so that's not going anywhere with this legislation. That will still be in place. And so city residents will still have, again, a preference over non-residents as it relates to job opportunities.
That's good, because I share with you that was one of the comments that we received when we were talking about residency, when we asked, you know, are you for it or are you not for it? And that was one of the things that they shared, like, if you are a city resident, then you should get preference if you're equal in qualifying for the position. So that's good to know.
Absolutely.
What are some of the other concerns that you've heard of people who are against eliminating residency?
So I think one concern is really based on one of the reasons why the residency requirement was implemented to begin with, and that's kind of the theory that you're more invested in local government when you're required to live here. And I would argue that's not necessarily true. We have, as you mentioned, the residency requirement is only 5 years. And so we have people that work for the city that don't live in the city, and they're just as invested as they were when they lived here. I would also argue as an HR professional that how you do your job is a performance issue. And so if you're not showing commitment and dedication to the best interests of the city, then that can be addressed through a performance, means. And we don't necessarily have to limit or restrict where you would live.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that you have to live in the city to be able, like if you're a good worker, you're a good worker. I don't think living in the city of Wilmington automatically says you're a good worker. Take, for example, our chief of police, recently appointed Chief Campos. He doesn't live in the city, but he is absolutely an awesome chief of police. I think he's going to do some great things for the city. He loves Wilmington. He doesn't live in Wilmington. I don't think that he should have to live in Wilmington. He's done his required years. He's moved out of the city, but I don't think that disqualifies him from being qualified for the job. I think he's always going to do what's right. He has a passion for people, and if you have a passion for your job, I don't think it matters where you live. And I understand the concern that, you know, if you live here, you're more invested, but I just don't think that it should be a disqualifier if you don't live here.
I want to make sure that we point out, because we do have viewers from all over, that he was already a part of the Wilmington Police Department.
Yes, he's been on the force for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So he's, you know, he's done his time. He decided to move to outside of the city, and which I don't blame him. You know,
Right.
He wanted to move outside of the city for whatever reason he and his family did, but still, you know, Mayor Purzycki thought he would be an excellent choice, and he has been an excellent choice since he's been chief. And when he was a captain, people loved him, and he didn't live in the city. I don't know. I think, and I always give an example of our new chief of staff, Mona Parikh. She lives in the city, but if she didn't live in the city, I think that she would still be an awesome chief of chief of staff for us. So I just think, like you said, Taylor, I think it's the person.
Yeah.
I don't really think that it's where we live. I think it's just the person and the people and what we bring to the job.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, some people seem to think that if we eliminate the requirement, then like no one will want to live in the city. And that's just not true.
Right.
We have people that have, 20 plus, 50, years who obviously are not, bound by the residency requirement anymore and still choose to live in the city. My boss being one of them. And so this idea that there's going to be this like flight of employees if the residency requirement is lifted, that's just not true. And we have data to support that when we look at our workforce and who lives in the city that has more than 5 years and who doesn't.
And right now, I think that the police department is really struggling trying to get candidates who are interested because of the residency requirement, right?
Yes. Police is another department that is heavily impacted by that. We just closed our applications actually for an upcoming class. And I know that residency was a barrier to us getting the number of candidates that we were looking for in order to fill the vacancies that we have.
Right. So we had people who wanted to work for the police department, but just didn't want to, again, uproot their families and move into the city. You gotta, that's a lot, especially if you have children. You gotta change their school.
Yeah.
And make possibly, you gotta change like their feeder pattern, and that's just, it's a lot. And only for 5 years.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing with me.
And I think, too, people think, when we say you don't have to live in a city, that they think that people are going to be coming from out of state. But it could literally be somebody right outside the border who might have inherited a family home. And so they don't have a mortgage. They don't have those living expenses. And then we would literally be asking them to uproot their families, take on that additional financial burden in order to meet this 5-year requirement.
And it could be literally just 5 miles away.
Or less. Or less.
Yeah, right outside of the border, like the city limits. So give us if you had to look council members in the eye, if you had to look residents in the eye who may be concerned about the impacts of relaxing the requirement, what would your spiel be to them?
So one, I think it's important to just rely on the facts and what is true and what we know. And so, I have a job to do just like every council person has a job to do. And that is to consider the best interests of the city and its residents. And so we have some serious challenges that we're facing by not being able to fill some critical positions within the city. Again, there's no harm to city residents because we still have that preference for city residents as it relates to our hiring process. And so I would just implore council to make the decision not based on personal beliefs or how you personally feel about the issue, but to solve our current crisis. Quite honestly, it is. We've described it as a perfect storm when we think about the challenges with salaries, combined with this residency requirement that other jurisdictions around us don't have. We are at a severe disadvantage, and we're feeling it. And so I would just ask council to, again, rely on the data and rely on the facts and do what's in the best interest of the city.
Okay. All right, Taylor West.
I like that name.
Like a movie star.
You're
right?
welcome. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It does. But before I want to appreciate those like the sanitary workers, sanitation workers who you said maybe we might not have enough of them, appreciate those who are doing hard work to do the things that they do while we're still looking for, I'm saying we, but I'm the city. Yeah. I'm the city.
We don't.
Yeah.
Right now, we don't have enough sanitation workers.
Yeah.
I was
We're always hiring for sanitation workers.
Yeah, I think we were in one of the budget hearings. We were talking about special pickup, and I think the time frame used to be around 7 days, but now I think it's like 3 weeks.
Okay.
And that's another thing that council person should think about is the real impact that it's having on your constituents.
All right.
Because sometimes we can talk about residency in a vacuum, but when we think about the services that aren't being provided, or how customer services impact because we're lower staff and people are having to work longer hours, that translates in a real way to our constituents. And so when you think about the people that you're speaking to, and as they're might be talking about the services that they are or aren't receiving, or everybody, including myself, if trash doesn't get picked up, it's a problem.
That was the first thing I thought about. Like, they ain't come pick up the trash. Ready to call and fuss.
Exactly.
Hopefully somebody answers, right?
Right. You might get an answer, you might not. That's true. Yes. Yeah.
You want to give any shout outs?
I gave my shout outs at the beginning.
Okay.
He treating you like you Taylor West, 6 years old.
No, I'm saying she might want to say hi to some family members or friends who are watching.
I guess the only person I haven't
No, it's too late. No, it's too late. No. See, I'm trying to set you up.
Can't leave
I'm trying to set you up. And I'm getting all this pushback. Like, you forgot your husband. But I don't want to say it. You
would have said, why don't you shout out your husband?
I was trying to lead up to it.
I got you.
I'm trying to be like, give you the assist. You ain't want to dribble. Shout out to your husband. What's your husband's name?
Tahir West.
Tahir West. Where's he from?
He's from Wilmington.
He's from Wilmington? Okay.
Keep it local.
Okay. How long have y'all been married?
It'll be 5 years in October.
Yeah. All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary in October. Shout out to Tahir West. Tahir, right? Tahir West. All right. All right, Waynna, we good?
We good. I'm good.
Taylor, we good?
I think so.
Okay. We appreciate you coming on and sharing with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We hope that, for the sake, like you said, for the sake of our constituents and just the well-being of our city, we hope that we get it right, whichever way we go. We hope that we get it right. Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks again.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with
each other.
All right, we'll be back.
Government doesn't make a move without an agenda, some type of plan. The problem is we haven't been on the agenda. Sometimes we're overlooked. Sometimes our interests aren't the interest of those in power. I'm your host, Kerwin Gaines, on DETV's new show, The Agenda. We're going to do our best to ensure that you, Delawareans, are knowledgeable about what's going on in the Assembly. Federal government, local government, it doesn't matter. We're going to do our best to ensure that folks that make the agenda on a daily basis have to answer for it. Let them explain what they're doing. If it affects you, it's on the agenda.
All right, welcome back to the show. So we went to break.
I love this show.
And then we started having like an after the meeting. My dad always says the meeting after the meeting.
Right.
So we started having one of those conversations. So we decided to, instead of having a conversation with just the three of us, to have it with our viewing audience. We thought that we brought up some really good concerns, some really good points that we want to make sure that we talk about, because they are, like, perceptions are real, and we don't want to deny anybody of their right to have an opinion. But we also want to make sure that we are addressing those opinions and just like you said, Taylor, just talking about facts and talking about data. So we are back with Taylor West. I can say her name all day.
I know,
Taylor
me
West.
too. I love it.
So when we went to break, I brought up the fact that I did this intentionally. I didn't want to catch Taylor off guard, but this is TV.
Yeah.
But still, I just wanted to be respectful to her.
And what you brought up was other people thought the same thing.
Okay,
So
all right.
yeah, I don't want to just throw you under the bus. It was,
Oh, no,
I know you
no,
don't mind,
yeah.
you know what I mean, but
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
So I brought up the fact that there are residents, there may be council members, there are people who have a perception that if residency is eliminated, that the city is going to hire a bunch, I don't say a bunch of, just hire a plethora of people who aren't black and aren't minorities. They're gonna hire a bunch of white people. So I brought that up to Taylor because that's a concern. I think we have to talk about that. So for me, I think that it puts too much power into, because what they think is that Mayor Przicki, and he and I don't see eye to eye all the time, but I want to be fair to him. I always want to be fair. I don't want to fight just for the sake of fighting. And when it's time to have an open and honest conversation, I want to be able to do that with him. And we don't always get along, but I think that's putting too much power into one person to think that if we do eliminate residency, that he's going to go out and just hire a bunch of white people. And I don't think that's fair. But I don't think that's his game plan. And if I did, I would talk about it. But I don't think that's what he wants to do. And so Taylor chimed in. So I'm gonna let Taylor. We're just going to continue the conversation around residency and around that concern.
Well, one, I'll say that I don't think this is really about one person or the mayor. If we want to talk about Mayor Przicki, I think we can look at his current leadership and what he's done. And he has a diverse leadership that runs our city departments. And he only has, the ability to appoint those department heads or, our attorneys or deputy directors.
So explain, because some people might not understand what you mean when you say appoint. What does that mean? When you say that the mayor can appoint certain people instead of them going through not being appointed.
Right.
Explain what that means, please.
So being appointed means that you are hired by and work at the pleasure of the mayor.
Okay.
And so we have the city code that I mentioned earlier. It defines our hiring process. It tells us that we have to post jobs, how long we have to keep them posted, how many people we have to interview, how we qualify candidates. So we're looking at work experience, job history, skills, interview, how we score them. That process does not apply to appointed people.
Okay.
And so he has the mayor has the ability to select. Still, obviously, that he would, or whoever the current mayor is, would make that selection based on who's most qualified to do the job. But he has the ability to bypass that process that's prescribed in the code and make a hiring of his choice. And I think the point that I mentioned about hiring the person most qualified for a job is important to kind of put a pin in, because I think the idea that the demographics of the city will significantly change if the residency requirement is eliminated is based on the idea that there aren't qualified people of color or minorities to do the job.
Right.
And that is not simply not true, nor something that I will accept, and I know you won't either. There are plenty qualified people of color and minorities to do the job, but at the end of the day, I think we can all agree is that we want the most qualified person, regardless of color. That said, we do have a policy to promote diversity, and that is something that the Human Resources Department pays close attention to, and we have processes that report on the demographics of our workforce, and something that we're mindful of. And so I don't think it's true that there's going to be a huge shift in the demographics of the city just by the elimination of the residency requirement.
Taylor, do you know if since the residency requirement has been lowered throughout the years, do you know like the demographics before, like during when it was 20 years versus now? Do you have that information?
I don't know it off the top of my head. We might be able to.
I think that would be important too, like because it used to be 20 years, but now it's 5. So it would be interesting to know like how have the demographics did they change along with residency changing? I don't think that they have, honestly. I think if anything, it probably it improved, but I don't know. But I think that would be a good piece of information for council members to have and for residents to have. I say we keep referring to council because council has to decide if we're going to eliminate residency or not. but it's important that the residents understand why we vote the way that we're going to vote. So that's why it's important for both of us to be able to understand and have the facts and be able to have the conversation. What do you think, Waynna?
I'm sorry. What did I think about what? Because you was going on
just
and
about,
on and on.
about what we came back. We did like a little rewind to talk about.
So I definitely agree that Mayor Przicki can't dictate who the city hires. One of the things, and I'm going to finish to answer your question, but one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we talked about was, and I apologize, that's where my mind was, because a lot of times, when people say, oh, that story in the Bible, and people really don't know the story that you're talking about. I want to talk about, because you said grading, and I know from when I worked, when I was appointed by Tom Gordon, I was a part of the hiring committee. When people would come, I would make sure that diversity and all of that was there. Me and a few other people in the executive office, and we graded people based on their experience and all of the things of that. So how does applicants for the city get graded? What are some of those things that they get graded on?
So some of the things that you just mentioned, we're looking at job history. We're looking at, for some jobs, education. Although I will say that we have shifted and not putting so much emphasis on education, but skills and experience, because that is the best indicator of how you will perform in a job. And so we actually are going through all of our positions before we fill them to determine, does this really require a degree? And the majority of our positions do not. And so that's probably a common misconception as well. So either the combination of education or experience, again, those transferable skills, interpersonal skills, how you perform during the interview, your ability to articulate that experience. And we make sure that we have a diverse panel that's required by our code as well to serve and to interview those candidates. And so all the applications that we receive, our certified HR professionals make an assessment of whether or not they meet the basic requirements, and they put them on a cert list. And from there, we interview or select the candidates that we would interview, and the panel then rates them based on those qualifications that I mentioned.
Okay, so to finish answering the question, and I alluded to this at another conversation that we had, being a realtor, I know sometimes moving into the city, certain areas of the city, the cost of living is a lot higher than some of the parts of the city of Wilmington that those people may not want to move into. So like salary and cost of living, that's important.
So when I talked about kind of this perfect storm, which is the combination of our salaries, which, they are what they are. We, as council know, we are in the process of undergoing a compensation study to see how we compare with our other local jurisdictions and our comparators. But with compressed salaries and this residency requirement, it can really be prohibitive for some people. I hear, I don't rent, thankfully, but I hear about the skyrocketing rental prices. And we can't expect for people or employees to be able to afford those prices for some of the salaries that they make for some of these positions. And so, and it's not even just, the lack of housing stock or even houses or in desirable areas is one factor, but not even just the desirability of the area, but if you go outside of Wilmington, you can get a house or rent a property for, in most cases, significantly less.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, so I just wanted to come back, and I'm glad we had that this part 2 conversation about residency. I think that's really important.
And I'm glad that she didn't mind coming back on.
Right, yeah.
Brave soldier. She like, bring it on. She like, come on with it.
Absolutely. So I am always encouraged by citizens and everybody participating in this process. That's what the legislative process is all about. And so I think it's important to toss the issue around and hear different perspectives. And I'm not here to persuade. I'm here to speak about the facts, quite honestly. And so I willingly accept the invitation back onto the couch to finish the conversation.
I'm glad we did. And I guess that's what I appreciate the most about you right now, and then about Charlotte. Like, she wasn't trying to persuade me. She was just, so she was like, look, Trippi, like I've always done, I'm gonna give you the facts and you do what you want. Do what you want with them. And she gave me the facts, so I'm like, yeah, we might want to take a look at this, because it's really hurting our ability to serve our constituents at the end of the day.
Yes.
And we just want to have the best possible workforce. I think that we're going to be protective. The demographics aren't going to change drastically if we eliminate residency. I just think we'll have a better workforce to be able to give to our constituents who are paying for them. So I think that's what they deserve. They deserve the best.
Most definitely.
And I want to be able to give them the best. And right now we can't. Right now we can't even give them. Sometimes, in some instances, we can't give them anything because we don't have people in those positions. So I think it's important that we just have, like you said, Taylor, it's an open and honest conversation. Present the facts and just let council again do its best for the city of Wilmington.
I believe y'all will.
Hopefully we will
Me too.
Yeah, we will too.
Yes.
All right, Taylor West.
All right, I'm back for good now, for real this
I'm gonna call you
time.
that from now. No more Taylor. It's all Taylor West. All right, so we good, Waynna?
Yes, we
All
good.
right, we're gonna take when we come back this time, it's just gonna be Waynna. Taylor has to go. We tried to get Taylor's
As we
mom.
come up to
we tried to get Taylor's mom to come on, but she said she's gonna join us on another show.
Yeah.
You think she
Hold
will?
it to
You
it.
think she will?
She will.
She
will?
will.
Okay.
Oh, I believe.
All right.
Of course she will. Why
Okay.
wouldn't she?
She don't hear us talking anywhere. All right, we're gonna take a really quick break, and Waynna and I will be right back.
How did DETV start and how did you get here?
DETV started approximately 10 years ago in the basement of my home. I had an idea to show people of color doing great things, but what happened was I got to the point that I said, I'm gonna just show people all together doing great things. The motto and the moral was to bring people together instead of using media to rip people apart. And doing that, I just did a lot of hard work, a lot of free stuff, a lot of things of just showing people being themselves. I figured that media, and I saw that media wasn't doing that, so I just decided to give it a shot, not knowing that it would bring me to where I am today. I had a great journey doing it, met some amazing people, did some amazing things, worked on some amazing projects, and with just a lot of hard work and a bunch of sacrifice, I'm here today. I done worked on everyone's campaign in the state of Delaware, and now, I'm just doing what I do and doing it with friends. My biggest accomplishment right now would have to be this, hands down, without a doubt. We want to make sure that we inform the community wholeheartedly. So again, they can have all the information that they need. For more information, you can find us at detvch.com. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook under DETV. Be sure to check us out. Tell me what you think.
All right, we hope that you have enjoyed the show so far. No saying this corner, but I think we had a good conversation.
Yes, we
with
did.
Taylor. But I'm sure my dad will be back within the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, he said he's coming back.
Is he?
Trippi, you know what? The couple of weeks that you were gone, Ivan did very well, as he always does. But Meshach was our guest as well.
Shout out to Meshach Stennett. One of my great friends from Delaware State.
Yes.
We met back in like 90. I was like a super senior and he was a freshman. And somehow we just connected and we've been friends ever since, like the last 30 years.
Yeah.
And it was funny because when we did the announcement that we were coming back on the show, like he was one of the people. I remember I told you about some people were saying like they want to be on the show. Like he was one of them. That said he wanted to be on the show. He actually wants his own part of the show.
So does everybody else.
But yeah, shout out to Meshach. I didn't see the show, but my mom sent a text to me.
What she said?
So me and Meshach, we always tease each other. You know how guys always talk, like we always rank on each other's moms. So not even rank, but like I'd be like,
I know
yeah,
what
man,
you mean,
man, your mom wants me.
Yeah, I know how
he'll do the same thing.
You've
right?
done that with my mom.
Probably,
You've done it with everybody's mom.
She probably really doesn't want me. But so my mom
My mom does not want you.
my mom sent a text to me after she saw the show. She was like, "Oh my goodness, tell your friend Meshach that he did an excellent job, and that he should really, you know, when Waynna can't be there, he should be there with you."
No, it's gonna be the other way around because I'm here more than you.
Can I finish my story?
Go ahead. I apologize.
So I didn't want to send it to him, but I knew he was gonna say something smart about my mom giving him this compliment. So I sent him the text. My mom, she loved him on the show. She was like, "Yeah, he did a great job." So I told him, "Look, I'm like, look, man, I'm about to send you this text, but you can't say nothing smart back to me about my mom."
What did he say?
But he did. He was really appreciative
okay.
of you know, of her, and you know, us allowing him to come on the show. But yeah, I got a lot of positive feedback about my buddy.
Yeah.
You guys had a good time,
We
right?
did.
Yeah,
We
that's
really
good.
did.
What did you guys talk about?
We talked about a little bit of everything, but we talked about HBCU experience.
Okay.
I shared with that it was my first time going to homecoming and how great of a time I
Oh
had.
my goodness, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I mean, HBCU experiences. That's awesome. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just had flashbacks. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just the good time.
You really had flashbacks, huh?
Yeah, but I mean,
So yeah, that's what he talked
Yeah.
about, the good times that you have at HBCUs. Talked about how he's now a part of Delaware State University. We talked about the aviation team. We talked about mental health and the importance of men going to go see a therapist.
okay. All
Do you
right.
go see a therapist?
I don't. Would I? If I thought that I needed one, I
See,
would.
there you go.
If I thought that I needed one, I don't think that everybody automatically needs a therapist, but if I thought that I needed a therapist, I would absolutely go and talk to a therapist.
You don't think you need to go see a therapist?
I don't think so. I have my dad. I got God. You know, I got my
See,
my
that's
dog
what we
and my
talked
cat.
about.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Did you say the dog?
and a cat.
Right,
I got a cat
right.
now.
You got a cat now?
I do. I have a cat
Trippi.
now. So listen.
How you get the
For
cat?
some reason,
I thought you was joking.
my house, I cannot keep mice out of my house.
Oh, city living.
It is crazy. I mean, one summer last year, we probably caught like 15 mice.
I'm not coming back home.
And I could not keep them.
Well, you never have
I was trying
an
everything.
event.
I was trying everything to keep these mice. I was doing. My sister like, you got to put the natural spices. I was doing that. I was putting poison
natural with her
everywhere.
too.
I had all these traps. I was calling exterminators. I just could not keep mice out of my house. My neighbors were like, "You need a cat."
And that solved the problem.
Because that whole block, like the whole house, the whole block was experiencing the same thing. They were like, "We got a cat, and we didn't see another mouse." I'm like,
Oh, so they don't come into your house because you don't have a
right? So they're leaving their house and come to mine.
Right.
So we got a cat. I haven't seen. I saw one mouse, and he caught him. So he's doing his job, and I made it very. So we got a cat from the SPCA.
Okay.
So Max went and got it. I was like, "Look, Max." Because I read up on it, I was like, "You gotta get a stray cat. Make sure there was because they're used to feeding. Don't get a cat that somebody was in somebody's house. Make sure that cat was living in the street because he knows how to get his next meal." Yeah. He came back. He got this cat, and that cat was on that mouse. I saw that mouse one day, and the next day they told me he caught the mouse. He was playing with it. I was like, mission accomplished.
What's the cat's name?
It's Sparrow. His name is Sparrow. You know, I try to give him an M name, but I let him.
Oh,
The kids like Sparrow, so
Trippi,
the
that
cat's
is
name is Sparrow.
funny.
Yeah, it was so bad, Waynna. We had rats. I'm this here. I caught 3 rats, and it was crazy because I'm putting these little traps down.
They like this.
I'm putting these traps down they're like this big, right? And I'm putting them downstairs thinking it's a mouse. And I go the next day, and it's a footprint on the trap.
Trippi, stop.
I'm like, how is this mouse getting off this trap?
Yo.
It was crazy. I'm like, how is this mouse strong enough to step on this trap and then step back off? This thing is sticky. Like, soon as you touch it, it's coming up with you. exterminator. So I called him exterminator. He was like, man, you got rats. That's not like that is not a mouse. Man,
Was it like a possum or something?
No, that's the kids thought it was a possum. Morgan thought it was a possum. She went in the basement.
Oh, gosh.
And she ran back upstairs like, Dad, that's a possum in the basement. I just saw this long tail. I'm like, there's not a possum in the basement.
It could have been.
No, but then I went there, I saw all the droppings. They were pretty big droppings. That's when we called the exterminator. And those little traps, so we had to put a cage. He put like the little Tom and Jerry, the mouse trap that that snaps. That didn't even work. He got like the bigger mouse traps. That didn't even work. This thing was it was like stepping on it and just stepping right back off. So he had to get like a little cage and bait it, and then we finally caught him.
Okay.
But
like you do possums or raccoons.
Nah, but I saw it in there. Like I saw it. I saw the rat. We caught 3 of them last summer. But now I got this cat.
I will not be at your Cinco de Mayo party. Sorry, I was coming.
Since Sparrow's been on.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
right. There's
I haven't seen. I saw one, but he caught it, and it's been great. So
we probably got 2 minutes left for the show.
I know. We got sidetracked. Well, shout out to Meshach for holding it down for me, and for Ivan.
You go from
I know
from Meshach.
I don't know how we got on this subject of the mice. I don't even remember, but shout out to Meshach. I don't mean to skip over you, homie. But thanks, man, for holding it down for me while I wasn't here. Yeah, Meshach and I have been friends for over 30. And I'm so happy for him because he's always been an ambassador for Del State. But now he's getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm just so happy for him, man. And he's just doing some great things. He loves entertaining people. He loves hosting events. He's just a natural at it.
Well, he did a promo before he was promoting all week that he was coming on.
Oh, yeah, he was excited.
Yes,
he was excited. So we definitely have to have him back. But not only when one of us won't be here, but just I think the 3 of us would have a good conversation.
That'd be good.
So, yeah.
Okay, so in the near future, but next week.
Oh, my goodness. Next week, we have Miss Velda Jones-Potter, who is a candidate. She has already announced that she's running for mayor. So excited, so happy for her that she's gonna throw her hat back in the pot, and she is gonna have my support.
She has mine
unequivocally. So she's gonna be our guest next week just to talk about why she wants to run.
Yes.
And just her platform and why she thinks she's gonna be the best candidate to be our mayor.
Yes.
In 2 more years.
I'm excited.
So yeah, really excited. So make sure that you tell a friend. Make sure that you tune in next Sunday for the Congo Hour because we will have the one and only Miss Velda Jones-Potter.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I'm not sure how much time we have left, but probably not a lot.
Okay, so let me do the birthdays.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. Want to say happy birthday to Devin Henson.
Oh.
He celebrated his birthday on the 22nd. Miss Jane Williams, who's affectionately called Miss Helps. Her birthday was the 23rd. Sam Guy's birthday was the 23rd.
Birthday.
Jackie and Kevin Cooper, you know the twins?
Oh, yeah.
Their birthday was the 23rd.
Okay.
And our girl Kira Anderson, her birthday.
Happy birthday, Kira.
Was the 25th. And then want to say happy birthday, cousin Everett Lacey. Somehow he's your cousin and my cousin, but he's more my cousin. His birthday will be May the 5th. Afton, little Afton's birthday is on the 4th. And my sister Carmen Brown's birthday is on the 4th.
How old is Carmen going to be?
61 or 62?
Oh, wow. How old are you?
56. I'll be 57 next month.
Okay.
Do you know when my birthday is?
It's the 20. We don't. Oh, he's giving us the time.
No, he's not.
Yes,
20 what?
He's telling us we got.
No, he's not. The 20 what, Trippi?
It's between the 23rd and the 26th.
It's the 23rd.
See that? I knew it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. So please don't forget to support Best Buddies Friendship Walk. Our very own Mark Reeves will be participating. We'll have the information up for you to send monies on his behalf so that he can win. Friday night, a night of intercession and impartation. Reverend Ja'Kai White, can you He reminds me of Jordan.
Right,
He
yeah,
been
he
around
does.
like that. So he's having a birthday celebration Friday, May the 12th, 7 p.m. at Joshua Harvest Church. And they're having service at 2317 North Market Street. So that's Friday, May the 12th, 7 p.m. Please go and support him. And that's it right now for announcements.
Okay.
I felt like I was rushing because you said he was winding up. Was he really winding up, or you was just trying to?
I wasn't sure if I had your birthday right, but I did.
You
Because I love
did.
you. You know, we're family. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you want to be a part of the show, if you have some recommendations for the show, just leave them in the comments. Go to our Facebook page or go to YouTube.
Facebook page right now.
And just let us know what you think and how we can do better. That's it, right?
That's it.
All right. God willing, we will see you next Sunday.